not afraid. It's the wizard who should be afraid of me.
Hello everyone, I'm Jacqueline Coley, and it is my honor to welcome you to the big ticket interview with the cast and filmmakers of Wicked. Hello everyone and welcome.
Hello.
I'm so excited to talk to you all about this movie. I know I'm not the only one. Jon, I want to start with you because we've all seen Oz from our imaginations when we read the books to maybe when we saw it on the stage play to some of the previous iterations. What is the Oz that you're going to bring audiences into when they finally get a chance to see this on screen?
Yeah, like everyone, I've experienced Oz in all the different ways, and we wanted to create a new immersive version of it where you got to actually step into it as if it was a real place and touch the dirt and touch the ground and the walls, so you could feel the intimate emotions that actually exist there in Oz. So colorful, spectacle, everything you want, action, like a ride basically, but at the core of it, these two women giving you the most beautiful, intimate performances.
Yeah, I will say, as much as I was like loving it, from the minute I saw y'all sitting there at the Super Bowl, I was like, the songs are gonna be bops, the colors are gonna be beautiful, but it's really these two ladies and what you do. And Cynthia, with Elphaba in particular, there's something about how she is othered that resonates so, I think, deeply with so many people, but particularly the sort of like, you know, the black girl with the green skin moment that we all saw with you in that trailer with your braids. Talk about how you're bringing that to this version of Elphaba.
Yeah, I think that there is an innate understanding of what it means to sort of feel different, to be othered. And I was lucky enough to have this director here who gave me the space to pay homage to the different things that make us us. So those micro braids we had a big old conversation about what I wanted to do with the nails and the freckles and the micro braids, because I felt like these little nods to us as black women were really important. So it didn't erase who I was underneath the green as well. It gave us a little space to play in that space and sort of give us a little nod too. Yeah, I'm lucky.
I mean, I think we're all going to be lucky to see what you two have put on stage. I think one of my favorite things was you talking about how your voices blend, and having heard both of your voices for so long, I was thinking about it. But for you, Ariana, I mean, this is a different sort of thing that we've seen. Yes, we remember it from your acting days and obviously performing, but putting it together like this in a motion picture, what did you sort of want to make sure that you brought to this performance? How was it different from what you do on stage?
Well, it's so, different for a multitude of reasons. You know, I'm not telling my own story, I'm telling Linda's. I get the opportunity, thankfully, to disappear fully into someone else in a way that I never do when I'm performing or singing. And for me, that was every single part of it, from my voice to my physicality, and just sort of finding her and learning to how I could offer myself to her to the best of my abilities, you know? Finding that balance between honoring the Glinda that we know and love and have always loved, you know, us for 21 years, and also bringing my own truth somehow to her and finding that balance. So it was very different for me because I've never been, required to do every single thing all at once while also being someone else. You know, with pop music, I'm telling my stories. It's me, and you know, this is completely, obviously, the opposite. So it was the most amazing honor of my life, and we had quite a ride.
Yes, I mean, we've seen the trailers from the Super Bowl trailer, and then the featurettes and the things we've seen, that we've seen how you've embodied these characters already. We haven't seen as much with you, sir, as our wizard. And I'm curious because when I heard this casting as you as the wizard, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That's exactly what should happen. But how do you keep this sort of fantastical character real for you? Because the wizard is this sort of larger-than-life figure, but for you, he's just a character that you're stepping into for this film.
Yes, Jacqueline. Let me see. Well, I'm so lucky. You know, he knew how to do it, and he was my guide, of course, and then just being with and looking into the eyes of, and being in proximity with these masterful and brilliant artists and actors. was, gave me more than I, ever hoped to ask for. And just tried to make it naturalistic, and because there are a lot of aspects to the backstory of this little part that you see a little bit of. And where he might be coming from, and what he might be thinking and feeling beneath, the grand trappings of his so-called character.
When I stepped onto the set today, which by the way, we're in LA, we're not in Oz for folks that might think, I was just struck by this. And to know that this actually came from where y'all were filming, Jon, I mean, the scale of this and just how, I would say, again, fantastical you're making it. Sort of break us down a little bit of what the set design and this world that we're going to step into. What does it look like, and what were some of your inspirations behind it?
Yeah, we wanted this place to be physical. This is the actual head that was on our thing, and it moves. It moves in real time. When Jeff speaks, it can move and do all those things. That's a lot of engineering and a lot of artistic and beautiful people making that. Every fat piece of fabric. We had a 16-ton Emerald City train that actually moved on tracks that they could jump onto, and we had
I'll never forget it.
I'll never forget it.
Never get it.
So you just don't let it run you over. And they just kept jumping. It was very dangerous. No, it wasn't. We were very safe. But 9 million tulips we planted.
9 million.
Even though the studio was like, do you really need to plant 9 million? And sorry, we already planted them. And
Of course.
we built the Emerald City. You could walk through the Emerald City, go into the bakery shop and look at the what kind of sweets they had. You could go into the salon and sit in a chair. You could see the shampoo, and they had labels from Oztech. I mean, there's so many different things, and of course Munchkin Land and Shiz University where boats come in. So this is a spectacle on its grandest scale. I've dreamed about making a movie like this since, seeing behind the scenes pictures of Cleopatra or any of those movies. So, and of course we have great CG artists from ILM and Framestore who are building around it and being a part of this movie, of course, but the two together is where we all meet. And so I'm really excited for the audience to feel to that.
Yeah, and listening to that is definitely going to sell a lot of tickets. Folks are going to be signed up for it right there. But it really, again, lives and dies with what you two do. And the moments when you're in harmony or in sometimes disharmony, I think is really the heart of the film. And I loved this moment that you spoke about, Cynthia, that your voices, you discovered how well they blend together. Okay, please take us inside when you discovered that, what song you discovered it on, and really what made you know. I think you called it warbling. Yeah.
Oh, wow. We found that together.
Wow.
What was the song?
Well, the first thing we ever sang together was For Good.
For Good. And it was at
John's house.
That's when we discovered that we could do that.
Steven Schwartz was playing the piano for us. And it was our first time singing together because we actually didn't do a chemistry test together at all.
Wow.
And that was the first time we had heard each other together. We were able to sing that one song, For Good, together. And we...
In my living
She
room.
broke me into
my
tears.
gosh.
She started, I was gone. It was just too much. What a privilege. I'm spoiled for life after singing with her. There's no more singing with anyone ever again.
It'd be very, very difficult
Yes.
to be satisfied with anyone else's voice.
But it really is beautiful, we sound so different when we're singing separately, and then when we sing together, it just feels so symbiotic, and
Very much
we kept
so.
going like this. We were like, it sounds like,
It's
and we kept doing
there were
this.
times when we were like, is that, which
We were like,
voice
what is that?
Yeah.
And then we landed on the term worming, which we still don't know why.
Worming?
Because I think it's this.
Yes,
it's
we
this.
kept
Like
doing this
moving
with our
together.
hands.
Yeah.
So there we are.
It's visual.
That's how
I
we
can
found
feel.
it.
I can feel the vibes. Also, Universal, drop the soundtrack. What's up? I want to hear. Look, John's like, not yet. Look at him, shaking his head, like,
Pre-order is
absolutely.
available now. Please feel free to mosey on over to iTunes. Is that still around?
Yes, it is all around.
Apple Music.
Apple Music.
Apple
Okay.
Music.
We got it.
Anywhere, please pre-order.
Please.
Which?
The soundtrack.
Soundtrack.
Yes, pre-order.
It's pre-orderable
Yeah.
now. Is that a word? Pre-orderable?
Yeah, I think it's pre-orderable.
He does a great number.
I was just saying, you get to hear you
the whole
sing
dance
too.
number.
I sing a little bit.
Yeah,
I
you
dance
do,
and
he
sing a little bit.
It's so
lovely.
beautiful.
I mean,
Well, thank you.
people may not know this is a real jazz musician here. It's just a man
No,
that knows
truly.
how
Have
to
you
do
seen
it.
him live?
Have you seen him
Yeah,
live?
yes, I have.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's the best show
It's
ever.
really amazing.
But he's just one of many, because we have Bo and Yang, Michelle Yeoh, Jonathan Bailey. This cast is just so stacked. I'd love for y'all to just preview Jon a little bit about who's going to be joining us on this journey, because we have powerhouses already here, but there's so many more to come.
Yes. Well, Marissa Bodie, who's an amazing actor who plays Nessa. Wow. And this is her first movie, and she's incredible. I can't wait for you to see her singing and acting and playing the little sister and dancing.
She's amazing.
And there's more to her story as the movies go on, but that's what there is now. And we, of course, we have Ethan Slater, who plays Bach, and he's hilarious. And you know, they each of these characters again develop over the course of this movie. You don't know exactly where they end up, so they have these little spaces to perform, and each of them are so dense and precise in their comedy and how they move. Jonathan Bailey. I mean, this guy, everyone will fall in love with Jonathan Bailey.
If Bridgerton didn't
think
make
they
it,
They haven't already.
I think they already have.
yeah, but we're coming back. We're coming back for more.
He sings Dancing Through Life and performs it like
exquisite.
My favorite thing to say, just to chime in, because I want everyone in the world to know, the close-up of the feet opening the books and sliding them together. I'm going to say this in every interview. Get ready, everyone. That's him. That's all his feet.
But I
He's
think
an Olympian.
I think we all need to know that just in that number, that's all
One
him.
pass. Yes, all of it.
I heard him say that he was practicing in his trailer on Bridgerton, dancing up
Yes.
and down,
Yes.
and people thought that he was insane. But the work is going to be
No,
Yes.
it's really, it's spectacular.
It's
That is him.
incredible.
There's a flip that he does in Dancing Through Life. I also want people to know that is him.
Yes.
So he's,
Put it in
what
the-
did he do? So he's a trained dancer.
He used to do ballet.
Listen,
yeah.
And although
this is the casting.
although there are cuts in that first verse of Dancing Through Life,
That's all
he
one
did
take.
that a million times one take.
Yeah.
Like the same way. I just have to say, on the record.
Okay, Universal, drop the behind-the-scenes footage.
Michelle Yeoh. How about Michelle Yeoh?
Michelle Yeoh.
She's so beautiful.
Oscar
so
winner
cute.
Michelle Yeoh. I know.
My favorite shot in the movie is, listen!
Oh, it's so
Yes, I know.
good.
I was there when they shot that. I was like, oh.
Yes.
I think
It's
that's
so
a
good.
that's a
It's
that's a
so
yell
good.
you would actually enjoy to get. Like I would have
Yeah.
liked to have received that. We are going to get some more gifts with this one. Two very iconic songs. Cynthia, I want to talk to you first about Defying Gravity because for folks that don't know from the play, slight spoiler alert, that is really when Elphaba steps into her power, and it is such an iconic song. But I also know that y'all wanted to add new flavors to this version that you're bringing to audiences. Talk to me a little bit of how you approach that, because look, Showstoppers, that's nothing new for you. This is old hat, but this is different. It really like drives you into the next film almost.
Yeah. So the wonderful thing about this particular version is it grows, and there's a couple of added elements to it that you don't get from the stage version. And there's a couple of like moments of pause and space. There's much more space in it, so it like goes for a while. How long is that sequence?
I don't know if I should give it time, but it's
It's a long sequence. It's a long
it's an
sequence,
evolution.
and we because we have the luxury of being on film. The flying is real, so I'm singing while I'm flying. I'm up in the air, and
Yes,
a lot
she
of that
is.
movement is happening as you're hearing
we're
it. and-
tugging her as it's happening.
Upside
Yeah, I heard you got
down.
to be
Going,
some trapeze artist pretty heavily in this one, like
yeah,
real wire
For
work.
and I loved it, and I think I was lucky because the composer and our MD, our music supervisor, gave me the space to do with the notes, not as I please, but to make them mine, make them me, so that they fit my voice. And I'm really proud of it. But I hope that those diehard fans are also happy with what they hear as well.
I mean, I just want to listen. Like, just let me
Yeah,
listen.
I'm singing out. That's what I'll tell you that.
Yes,
yeah.
she is.
The crew got the best show ever. Every
me.
take she did, everyone would just listen. I'm on the comm, so I can hear her mic. Everyone else is just hearing her live, like in the space, and we'd see tears around, like big grip crew dudes, like crying.
And
I want to defy gravity.
and that's just one of many. There's so many showstoppers in it because you have Popular, which has had both of these songs have had like 6 lives, but that one just had a recent life like on TikTok. Because it's like I think there's
Oh,
gonna
yes,
be
that's right.
yeah no it just it's
last
so Wicked is always like around us, but with Popular in particular. It's different in this one. I think like where y'all film it and how you do it. So I'd love for you to preview Popular for us because like we know it's a
Preview.
bop. It's a bop.
Oh my goodness, well, where should I start? I mean, listen, it's a song that I've loved again since I'm 10 years old. So to love something and then to live it, to be, to have that be your job, to live it and bring new truths to it is like completely different, You're looking at the lines in a new way and you're trying to figure out your own version of these lines that you've loved for so long, like really thinking about them for almost the first time, you know? Like knowing it your whole life and loving it your whole life is very different than doing something like this. And I don't know, we had a really amazing time, and Jon really gave Glinda the space to play and be very silly. It was a very long day.
I really enjoyed myself. It was like a private show for me. I was sat watching as the audience member, just enjoying all of the craziness and there were days in which we could not get it together because she was so funny that we would just spend takes and take after take after take just laughing.
Yeah, there's like a 20-minute take. Where
just
Well, you were underneath Glinda's bed with the monitor in her room.
I was hiding underneath the bed, and they're like, "We
I'm
can
trying
see
to
you,
finish
Jon."
ball gown. I'm trying to finish the ball gown sequence that, by the way, was probably 12 hours that day.
It's like, it's insane.
And Jon is giggling under the bed. I'm like, that is absolutely not helpful. I was like,
I mean, if
it
he's
so
laughing, that means,
beautiful.
again, it's supposed to be really,
Like,
seen it a few times.
But no, yes.
We got through it. That's
Hey,
good.
listen, and we're going to get to see it soon. Jeff, for you, so I know that you have all of you have a personal connection to The Wizard of Oz and to Wicked, but I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what this source material really sort of means to you and why that made you want to get involved.
Well, I'd always loved, in a very special way, the movie that I grew up with. It was very moving to me. And then, 20 years ago, somebody said, "Oh, there's a hot show, and you should see that. You got to get a ticket for that." What, Wicked? What's the Wicked? Okay, I don't know anything about it. Went with the girl. What's the? Oh, it's about. Oh, Wizard of Oz. Oh no. And then I saw in the lobby they had, painted. I don't know if they still do or in every production, but on Broadway, with Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth, in the lobby, they had some paintings. I forget what it was exactly. The monkeys and and I was like, oh no, it's not about that, is it? I was already a goner. I was a goner. I don't know why. It just, no place like home. It's something about that is primal and central. And then Stephen Schwartz, that music and their performances. And by the end of the show, I was an emotional emergency case. Yeah. I didn't know they were going to be best friends, says I bellow out, and just amazing. And then 20 years go by, and they asked me to do this, and I got two little boys now, and I took them and my wife to the London current production, and I was just sobbing through the whole thing, seeing it through their eyes, and anyway, and then doing this, and the best ever magnificent version of it, unbelievable, so I'm a fan and just thrilled to be part of it.
My first conversation with Jeff about this, he had all those emotions. He would talk about Wizard of Oz. He talked about these things and was just crying. And I was like, "Are you okay, sir?"
This is good casting. This is incredible casting. Another decision too that I want to touch on, because everybody wants to talk about it, because if you saw Wicked on the stage, you only saw it in one, and this one is broken up into two. This is the first stop along the journey, and I think you really haven't gotten a chance to talk about why it was important to split this up into two parts, because I know you decided that very early on, Jon, right?
Yeah, I mean, it became very clear you can do certain things on a stage that when you're in a movie, you can't just make some of those leaps, and so as you go into it, it just became clear we were either going to have to cut so many things out of this movie that it wouldn't be recognizable as Wicked anymore, or we had to give us the room. And in that room, we had opportunities to really dig into these characters and give more motivations of why certain things are happening, why certain pivots are happening, and so it became very clear that the biggest question was, how that first movie then, if we're ending, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, if we're ending on Defying Gravity, then everything has to lead to still be satisfying as a movie, as you could just see that as a movie and you could walk away. And that was, working with Cynthia and Elphaba and figuring out how do we get into that character and go from her I want of seeing the wizard and I to rooting for this woman who gets into school to trying to prove herself to the wizard, to getting to the wizard, to having all that dissolve, and then her saying, I don't need to prove myself to anyone. And then rising above that, and that relationship with Glinda, how complicated that can be, and we'll see more in this relationship and how each of them have to rise in a different way. But yes, we need the landscape, to be honest.
You'll feel that when you see it. When we saw it for the first time, we were like, oh, thank goodness this is 2 films, because it's like it's very satisfying as one, but also like, what a gift that we're gonna get to see more too.
Really, before you guys got the moment, which I would love to think about y'all watching it for the first time, but I actually want to go a little bit further back, because this gentleman right here, maybe it was good foresight, maybe he knew that he was going to put it out, but when he called both of you to let you know that you were going to be a part of this production, he recorded it. I don't know if y'all were really down for that when you found out later, but I love, look at your face. She's just like,
it was 1 a.m. in the morning.
So I would love for you both to talk about that moment, because I know that was a journey for both of you. Both of you really went after these performances and really went after wanting to play these characters. And so when he calls you up, and maybe you think like, do I got to read more lines? Do I got to sing again? Like, Cynthia, start with you. What was that moment?
I didn't know what the call was for. I was told that we were looking at a particular, like a book or something for maybe producing something, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. What piece of IP is this? I'm very interested. My team had written me this very dramatic email that we needed to get on a call like immediately, and I was like, okay, let me get myself together. I was in London, it's 1 a.m. in the morning, I'm like in my pajamas, so I grabbed like a hat and some glasses, and then I think, oh no, not the hat doesn't need it. I'll put my glasses on. And I try to make sure that the top I'm wearing is somewhat presentable, so I'm ready to have this conversation. And Jon M comes up, and I think, well, maybe it's his book. Maybe it's his book. Brain doesn't come together yet. And then everyone starts coming onto the screen, and I think, I guess we're all going to have this meeting together. Fantastic. And it takes me, if you look at that video, it takes me a second to like, for it to click.
Yeah.
There's like a big smile on my face going, this is really cool, because he's telling the story about this girl who's actually me, and I'm hearing the story like he's telling a story about somebody else. And he tells a story about this girl who goes to this school and is stealing away to a room and playing this music with her friend and knows all of this stuff and feels like an outsider and feels like she doesn't belong. But then she finally goes to see this show, and it's about this green girl, and then she comes in, and then I'm like,
what is happening?
Sounds oddly familiar. Sounds oddly familiar. And I think, don't jump to conclusions, Cynthia. You have no idea yet. Maybe it's not what you think it is. And I'm having this conversation in my head as he's talking. And then he finally says, and I don't know what did you say? I don't know what planet you came from, did you say? But you have to.
I think I said, I don't know what planet you came from, but people need to see more of you.
Yeah. Wow. And there was a smile on my face, and then a collapse of absolute tears, because it's like, oh my God.
It happened.
It happened.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good story. That's a pretty good story.
Yeah. That was my experience.
Ari, you had another one too.
Mine had no book.
Yours had no book. Oh,
so yours had years and years of like.
Yes, so mine was an emergency call. You have to understand something. I was at the point where I was like, I had exercised my patience. I was really trying to the best of my ability to be very patient, and I didn't want to push it. I didn't want to ask too many questions. I told my team, like, please don't be pushy. Like, if this is meant to be, it'll be, and you know what? If it's not, I'll be in an insane asylum, but that's okay. We'll figure it out, and that's okay. And we have time. But so I finally picked up the phone, and I called my manager, and I said, do we know anything? Like, is there a chance? Like, should I just start grieving this? Should I, whatever? And he said, you know what? Let me call you back, and I'm going to grab your agent. I'm going to see if he knows anything great. So these two have been conspiring all day because they already knew. And they were trying to get you and Winnie and Steven and Mark and everyone and Chelsea, everyone on a call together. And Tiffany, because everyone wanted to tell us
Right.
together.
And not just you, but to be
Yes, together.
Together.
They wanted to be there to tell the two of us. Everyone wanted to be there. We're so lucky. And so they were trying to rally the troops, and they get my agent on the FaceTime, and then they're like, "It's not. I can't hear you. Can we switch to Zoom?" And we switch to Zoom, and it's recording, and I'm like, "Why is it recording? And what is happening?" And then finally, my manager was like, "I'm going to see if my assistant can turn it off. I don't think it's supposed to be recording. I don't think." And I see Jon M pop up, and I go, "Okay. Well, this is either it or the worst way ever to let someone down." I was like shaking, and my body was just immediately in like fight or flight. Like I was out of body watching the whole moment from above. And I will never, like I've never felt that way in my life. And my goodness, like
You both made me cry.
I'll never forget that feeling ever. And then when I found out it was her, another
Yeah, because
collapse.
they didn't know it was each other.
Another collapse.
Oh, wow.
Like another collapse.
I don't think you knew on that phone call. I don't
No,
think we
did
told you
not.
on that phone
No.
call.
Me?
Yeah, did we?
think you
don't-
told
I
me.
did.
I didn't know.
You were like, "Don't tell anyone."
Oh.
I'm telling everyone right now.
I want to thank you all for talking about this incredible film, and I want to remind everyone that tickets for Wicked are on sale now at Fandango, and you can pick yours up today.
And we love the pink and green, by the way.
Oh,
Thank you.
We try.